Hi, everybody. Welcome to Module 5, and we're going to be talking about classroom management and Google Classroom this week. So, a lot of us, one of our big concerns about technology is the management of that technology in our rooms. When kids have their devices with them, they can do things we don't want them to. They have access to all the same things we do when we're on the internet. And so when they're supposed to be, say, doing research for their projects, they might be wandering off to play Fortnite or whatever it is. So, what can you do to sort of manage that and build better digital citizenship skills? And then what can you make your online classroom look like to make it engaging, interesting, and exploring the tools that are available to do that? So this week is kind of a fun one. You get to be super creative and think about some really practical stuff that would benefit you in your future classroom. So we'll have a discussion about classroom management to start us off. So all the things that you can think about when it comes to classroom management, your concerns, your maybe things you've seen that had worked well. But think about the point of view of a scenario to get started. So I wrote up a little scenario, which is kind of the typical thing that a lot of us are concerned about. This, we're doing group work, and we've got one group over here that's on Minecraft, and you have another group over here that, one person seems to be doing all the work, and yeah, they're engaged in joking, but they're not really doing what they're supposed to do. You've got, and all these devices are going around, and what can you do to manage this situation? This is like the worst case that many teachers have in their minds of, oh no, this is what can go wrong with one-to-one technology. So, what do your classroom tech rules look like? How do you implement them? What does digital citizenship mean? How do you make that work in your classroom to get the kids to buy in? Because it's not so much about just enforcing heavy restrictions and rules on them. All that kind of does is just make them want to go around your rules. I mean, that's kids, it's human nature. But how can we all work together? Can kids maybe work on creating some of their own rules? Can you have some baseline and stuff, and then they build onto that? How will you present this? How will you give them this information in a way that makes sense to them and helps them really internalize it, so that it's not just no, don't do this, yes, do this kinds of stuff, but hey guys, we're coming in this conversation together, and what do we all think is best, the best use of our devices, of our access to the internet, whatever it is. And everybody's going to come to this from a different perspective because we're all working with different levels. We've got our elementary, early childhood, and our high school crowd here. So everybody's going to come at this with different perspectives. This is always a really interesting conversation. Now, when it comes to Google Classroom, one of the downsides of Google Classroom is that you have to kind of create your own thing, and it's not easy for me to just give you an example to tour on your own to see how it's done. So watching this video will help a lot, because I'm going to tour you through one student's classroom to give you an idea of what's been done in the past. So think about, it's your first day of school. You want to have everything prepared and out there for your students to get into your class, find their way around. You're not necessarily teaching an online class, but you're probably well familiar with e-learning days and things like that come up in a lot of school environments nowadays. A lot of blended learning is happening. So, yes, you might meet the students every day, but then they go home and continue working on things with their devices. So how can you provide them a nice environment that's easy for them to get through and find the work that they need to complete and turn it in? So Google Classroom is one of many places that teachers go to create these kinds of online environments. It's not certainly the only one, but it's free again, and it gives us a great opportunity to explore this kind of a tool without having to pay for anything, and really without logging into anything, because you already have a Google account. So all you really have to do is go to classroom.google.com, and I will say that if you are doing this for the first time, you can use your PNW account. You're a teacher. It'll ask you, are you a teacher or a student? You're a teacher. If you say you're a student, you won't be able to create Google Classrooms. And then I'll have to create one for you and enroll you as a teacher. So it's kind of a pain. Just remember you're a teacher. So be sure to click that if you get asked that question. So once you're in, I'll actually go back a step. Once you're in, you're going to see your Google Classroom environment, which will not look like mine because I have lots and lots of courses that I'm enrolled in, because we've done this for a few semesters. So I have lots and lots of classes. But you'll see a little plus button up here, and you'll be able to create your class. Of course, yes, I have read the terms. And you'll have to give it a name, whatever you'd like to call it. And, whatever you'd like to call it. It needs some manner of a name, but you don't have to fill in all the rest of this stuff. And then once you create it, you're in. You've got a nice blank open canvas to play with as much as you want. And it's going to do this for a second. And so now you can see a couple things. One thing I will note is that Google Classroom is always being updated. So the heck knows, by the time we actually get to this point, there might be something new in the software, which is great because they're paying a lot of attention to it, but it can make things be different from what you might see on my screen as opposed to what you see on your screen. But for now, this is what it looks like. Your class code is right in the corner. This little class code is the only thing I need to be able to access your course. So this little 6 or 7 digit number or letter scheme is all you're going to turn into me in Blackboard. So that's all you have to worry about. And then this, of course, creating everything. So this becomes your space to create everything you'd like to share with your class. The interface is super easy to get to know. All you do is basically you can type, you can add attachments or Google Drive documents. So if you've been building stuff in your Google Drive, you can pull them right out of there and stick them into your Google Classroom, which is super awesome. So like there's my HyperDoc, for example. So I'm going to grab that and put it in there, and I can say, this is our HyperDoc. Open this to start the germs lesson. That could be something I would share with students. You could also add a video. You could add whatever you want. And when you post it, there it is. So this is kind of the very basic, the stream, which is sort of this stream of information that will go from, the newest chronological thing and just keep pushing the old stuff down further. To keep things more organized, though, it is sometimes helpful to go into classwork and instead kind of create your classwork assignments. This is where you can create quizzes. You can add just simple questions that students respond to right here. You can give them materials to look at, whatever you like, but you can also organize them by topic. So I actually have a few different classes that I'm enrolled in, of course, but one example that I can share with you is Brittany here. Brittany did this last couple semesters ago, and she organized things really nicely. She used her topics to give topics to each thing. So she's got math, language arts, social studies, etc. for her elementary class, and then organized documents and posts under each one. So when you click on them, you'll see whatever she's got listed there. So she made like a little welcome image, which I think this was made in a different class, which is awesome. Bring in things you made in classroom management or any of the other classes you've taken if they fit, because this is the first day of school. So anything that you've created that fits in that schema, feel free to use it. This would be a great opportunity to get some use out of that stuff. But you can kind of see what she's done. And how she's kept it organized. So it's really easy to find things. She's got a lot of stuff here, but it's not necessarily all, huge amounts of stuff as far as what she's created. Basically, you want to make sure you've got your introduction to yourself, your standards, your class rules, and anything else you'd like to share with your future students. Have some fun with it, read through here, and be sure to ask questions if you get stuck on anything.